Finally, the Jacob Zetterstrom drama looks set to be over as Derby County looks set to complete the signing of Jacob Zetterstrom from Djurgarden for a fee believed to be in the region of 1.4 to 2.2 million pounds once add-ons and everything are accounted for. I know that's a big sort of bracket in transfer fees, but there's a lot of different things that have been discussed over the course of the past month or so since the link originated, and it certainly looks as if Paul Warne has finally got his man, and it finally looks as if we can add Jacob Zetterstrom to that depth chart to become the #1 goalkeeper at Derby County. Now, there's a lot of things to discuss in this video, so we're going to get into that in just one moment. But before we do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and turn on that notification bell to stay tuned for all of my latest Derby County and EFL Championship and League One videos that are coming your way. My Championship preview came out earlier yesterday. My League One preview will be out later today, so make sure you check out those videos. Now, obviously, this deal is an absolutely massive one for Derby County. We've been in need of a goalkeeper since Joe Wildsmith took the decision to leave, which was more of a mutual decision between himself and Paul Warne. And we've really needed that #1. We've seen throughout pre-season and at the start of this season a lot of defensive frailties, and I often look back to those previous seasons with the likes of Ben Hamer in goal and Keller Roos, and you look at the stability of the back four under those goalkeepers and you think, is it a case of the players just don't quite trust who's behind them? And I do think that's something that can be discussed, because I do think on occasion we've seen it in the past where a different goalkeeper goes in and players don't have the same confidence, and that's something which is obviously going to hopefully be addressed with this transfer. Obviously, Zetterstrom still has a lot of development to do within his career. He's just getting into sort of the peak ages for a goalkeeper. I believe he's 26, 27 years old. So it's going to be a really, really good signing for the club, one that can sort of progress forward as the club grows. Now, obviously, the most important thing in football is scoring goals, but you also have to be able to keep them out if you want to stay in a division or get promoted or so on. So this deal for me looks like a mega one. Now, obviously, we've been through a massive saga over the course of the last month, through bids being accepted, through deals being agreed, the player coming over for a medical, the player then returning to play 2 more games, then he plays another 2 games, and it's just been a very, very long-winded process to get Zetterstrom through the door. And I think you can tell in Paul Warne's press conferences over the last couple of weeks where it's sort of like he's known the deal's done, but he's just been frustrated with it dragging out and not being through the door straight away. Now, obviously, I think it was about 2, maybe 3 weeks ago when I first released the video discussing about him coming over for his medical. I think it's about a month ago since I released my video discussing the first rejected bid. Now, obviously, Zetterstrom seems to be an incredible talent. If we go back just really about 8 months ago to January, if we go back to the summer of last year, he had Premier League interest from English clubs and they didn't meet the evaluation of Djurgarden, and now he's ended up finding himself joining Derby County. Now, if the pictures and videos from Djurgarden last night after his final game or anything to go by, he'll absolutely become a fan favourite, and he'll certainly get himself in and amongst it with the fans, because he was absolutely loving it last night. And it was really good to see a player who is coming to the club who's received such a good reception at leaving his former club. There's so many players we've signed over recent years where former clubs have gone, oh, he's terrible, he can't do this, he can't do that, but on this occasion it does not seem to be the case. And I am absolutely delighted to sort of be having this conversation, having this recording where it looks as if Derby County are going to have this goalkeeper over the line, because it's a position which we've needed. And realistically, yes, Joe Wildsmith was really, really good, but he had his faults, and it's going to be interesting to see if Jacob Zetterstrom can sort of topple what Joe Wildsmith did in a Derby County shirt, and whether he can become one of the best goalkeepers Derby have had, and realistically has probably got another 10 years in his body at the top level, because you think about it, goalkeepers can play until their late 30s, and he's probably got another 10 years in his career. Now, will he be at Derby for that entire 10 years? If you have not done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. It's completely free of charge. We're working really hard to hit 2,000 subscribers on the channel now. We're really close to 1,100, and you know that you can click that red button to stay tuned for all of the latest EFL Championship and League One content, as well as mainly focused Derby content. So do make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next part of this video. I personally don't think anybody will be at Derby for 10 years ever again. Obviously, you've got Craig Forsyth, but I just don't think those sorts of things happen anymore. You sort of get tempted by the money and things like that, but I certainly think like some of the players we've brought in this summer, Zetterstrom, Kenzo, looking in that European market, and hopefully Paul Warne and Richie Barker and Mark Thomas and Mo Babbitt, and all of those are going through this European data that we're able to collect and sort of trying to pinpoint a target man, sort of trying to pinpoint a younger striker who can develop with the club, and even maybe other wingers to add to the tally up top. So hopefully that's something which Derby County are addressing. Obviously, if you did listen to Paul Warne's pre-match presser yesterday, you discussed that they think they've found a centre-back. Now, if you go back on my channel a few days, I did a video on Brendan Weirdo from Fleetwood Town, who I think he's been linked recently. Obviously, there's a lot of interest in him, and it's going to be interesting to see if that is the player who Paul Warne's found, or is it going to be another European target. And I think the most important thing for Derby County this season is obviously survival, but we also need to make sure that it's not a toxic environment. And obviously, a lot of you lot who watch these videos or don't watch these videos or whatever may know that after the Blackburn game, I sort of said my piece on what I think the situation is going to be this season with Paul Warne and the coaching staff, and how I think that things have to look good October, November, otherwise it will start to get a bit rowdy, let's say. We know last year, I think we were booed off probably the first 4 or 5 home games of the season. Got booed off away from home countless times, and I think this season we don't have the squad or the players where we can just turn it around on a sixpence. So I think it's going to be a bit of a situation which has to be discussed over the course of the season. Obviously, tomorrow's result I think is imperative to sort of reducing any outside noise about Paul Warne and the squad and things like that. And obviously, in my opinion, I've said it a few times, it's not even going to be a question mark until about October, November. Hopefully, his new signings that he's bringing in, obviously, Zetterstrom, set to sign. I'm assuming it'll be today, because I assume he'll be involved tomorrow. Then, obviously, he still wants a number 9, still wants a creative midfielder, which he claims is close to doing, but we'll have to hear about that one as the day progresses. Obviously, just checking my phone now to make sure we've not had any announcements while I've been recording, and we haven't. So it's one of those where he's expecting a creative midfielder in the next 48 hours. There's a lot of talk about Alfie Devine, but nothing sort of concrete. So if that does go through, we will have a video on that over the course of the weekend or Monday. So make sure you have subscribed to the channel. Obviously, Defender still needs to come in, and he's said left back a few times, which I've got a video about Marvin Johnson prepared. That will probably come out on Sunday, because I've got the League One preview coming out later, match day vlog tomorrow. So Marvin Johnson will probably come out on Sunday. But it's going to be an interesting end to this transfer window, and I think Jacob Zetterstrom is the perfect signing to sort of push us into those final 3 or 4 signings that we're going to make over the course of this season. Obviously, when the transfer window ends, I will do what I did last season, and even if it's a day where I pump out 6 videos, that's just going to happen, because we're going to keep up to date with every single link and every single player. So make sure you've hit that subscribe button and turned on that notification bell to stay tuned with everything that's happening on the channel over the course of this season, and I'll catch you in my next video. Be sure to go and find me on TikTok, pictured here, and Twitter, pictured here. These are the places where I'll keep you all up to date with all my upcoming videos and my thoughts and feelings around the Formula 1 and football weekend.